What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
To me, that's what makes life worth living. Like, we have the dice in our hands. You got to shake them up and put them on the table. I don't want to roll some bullshit. I want to like make this thing cool.
Right.
And so I get where they're coming from. And that's why I think I am so fascinated by people like this, because I can see part of myself. Like, obviously I don't want to steal a car, but I can kind of understand why a kid gets the rush of doing it.
We've been on the podcast, but dude, your videos are awesome.
Thank you,
Love
man.
your channel. I love how you moved from being at the very beginning like a prankster on the street doing like funny like fart noise
Yes.
to like one of the journalists of the internet. How does this happen?
I don't know either, man. Like, it blows my mind every day where it's like, to think like, okay, we're running laps around CNN's YouTube channel or Fox's YouTube channel, and I'm not a traditional journalist, but I'm curious. I'm very curious, and I love learning about people, and so I have the best job in the world, man. I get to go talk to people every single day that I'm like, I wonder why he thinks that way. I wonder why he does that. I wonder what his motivations are, and I get to go into the weeds, the trenches, the hard to access places in America, and we'll go beyond eventually. And check people out, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you do everything too. Like you put out a video recently that was on mercenaries, and then before that, we'll definitely talk about that corrupt mayor. That was wild.
Yeah, that bitch is crazy.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Like she seems like she would be a bad villain in a Marvel movie. Like when they get a shitty actress to like fill a role because they didn't put enough money behind this Netflix
Or the
project
quota
that's
was
going to
just,
get canceled.
they needed to fill it quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like that. We'll talk about that one. But how did you get in with the mercenaries? Because we're into that topic
He
right now.
emailed me. The CEO of Redwater emailed me. He's like, dude, when I was having tough days, your prank videos made me laugh, and now I see you do documentaries. Let's work together. That was one of those emails I get within like 2 minutes of getting it. I'm on the phone with him. Where are we doing this? When are we doing this? Like, that's a dream email to get. And that's how I get a lot of my leads. Everywhere I go, I'm invited into. So I get DMs, I get emails, and people all around the country are starting to invite me into their life.
Wow.
And I love it. I love getting those invitations.
Redwater?
Redwater.
What a name, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
I get the double entendre there.
Yeah.
But what's their story? Who do they usually work with? Where they operate out of?
Man,
What
I
can
don't
you
know how
talk
much
about?
I can honestly say. Let's just say a lot of contracting work with 3-letter agencies, a lot of work on the border, a lot of executive protection from presidents to celebrities to high-profile people, rescue missions. If you get lost in a certain country, these guys might be your last chance of making it back alive.
Yeah.
So they fit the bill pretty well.
We were talking about Dale Comstock before camera.
Yes.
I mean, that's some of the shit he does. Like, oh, someone's stuck in a country, go and get him.
We drove into an area that's about 7 kilometers that the Taliban owned. It was their territory. You can't make a left or right turn. You got to go north or south down this road. And we had to stop. We heard the Taliban on the radio. They had set up ambushes on both ends of our small convoy, and they were getting ready to hit us. And then I realized, oh shit, the only way we're getting out of this is we got to run the gauntlet now. And I remember when we turned around that night, my Afghan interpreter's with me. Dude, as soon as I started driving, I said, shoot anything where a bad guy can hide behind it. I said, don't relent until we get out of this thing. So as I'm sitting there, I'm watching the vehicles go one by one. The firefight starts. I got time to watch the show and think about it before it's time for me to start driving my vehicle, right? And all of a sudden I thought, you know what? I've been in a lot of ambushes, but I've never actually had to deliberately drive into an ambush to get out of it. But I have no choice this time. And then I started thinking, man, what if I don't make it out of this one? I am driving the one with the antennas. And so I thought about my family, and I took a moment. I said, okay, I want to visualize every one of my children's face, everybody's face, my wife, my kids, one by one. See their face for the last time, maybe. Their face, their face, their face, their face, their face. And then what I want to do is get that all out of my mind, so I'm no longer distracted by that, right? And knowing that would be maybe the last time I ever think about him or see him.
Find a way out.
Can you imagine that being your job? That you have to figure out how, without getting bullets riddled through my body, am I going to go save this, dumb tourist that got himself stuck in a war zone?
Bro, I had to figure out how to get your boy an orange Celsius downstairs. That was a battle.
Yeah.
Nah, some people, do you find that like guys like that are just, there's something in them that's built different, like almost maybe from the start?
I look at it the same way I look at maybe like a guy that does skydiving for a living, or a guy that, steals cars and drives them really fast. There's just some people, particularly men, that only feel satisfied when they are living on the edge and they have danger. And if they don't have danger in their life, they feel like the world's too ordinary or depressing. And so there's just some guys that the way that they're wired is they have a high risk profile. And I would say I identify a lot with that. I do high risky things in other ways, but to me, that's what makes life worth living. Like, we have the dice in our hands. You got to shake them up and put them on the table. I don't want to roll some bullshit. I want to like make this thing cool.
Right.
And so I get where they're coming from. And that's why I think I am so fascinated by people like this, because I can see part of myself. Like, obviously I don't want to steal a car, but I can kind of understand why a kid gets the rush of doing it.
Yes.
You know?
And that was the first video you did that really went nuts, right?
Yes.
The Kia gang.
The Kia boys.
Out in Milwaukee.
Yes. Milwaukee represent, baby. Yeah.
Now you're not originally from Milwaukee. You're from Illinois, but when did you move out to Milwaukee?
I wrestled in college at UW Whitewater, and then when I graduated there, I was looking at sales jobs in Milwaukee and a nearby town, Madison. Got offered in Milwaukee, and I've been there ever since.
No kidding. So how did you get into that story? Like how did those guys? I wonder this on so many of your videos, and I know some of it is secret sauce. You're not going to say, but like, how do you get the Kia boys to trust you to come in with your cameras as Mr. YouTuber and report on them stealing, what was it, like 10,000 cars in a year or something like that?
Yeah, like they're not one unified group, but there are kids in Milwaukee that have stolen dozens or hundreds of cars by themselves or with their crew, like little crews of 4 or 5. The video before that was actually technically the first documentary, which was first time visiting a strip club, which shout out to my wife for letting me do that video. I enjoyed myself thoroughly, and I had a great time doing that. And I met this guy in the parking lot, and he's like, we hit it up. He saw that video. He's like, hey, I like working with you. Let's do something else. And I said, hey, here's 4 ideas I'm working on. One of them was the Kia Boy video. He FaceTimes me 2 minutes later, and he's got Mr. E-Brake on FaceTime with me, Shiesty, in a Kia, was just rolling around his block. And I'm like, hey, hello, sir. Would you like to meet next Tuesday at 3? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, Tuesday at 3 it is. See you there. And the rest was history.
And they let you in the inner sanctum, like, because they were even saying at one point, I remember at the end of the video, the guy's like, hey, make sure you blur out those tags. And I'm thinking to myself, you can, if you didn't blur it good enough, that can be like re-scrambled and you can find the tags.
So that's part of the secret sauce is, and some people might get mad at this from the outside, like, why do you protect criminals so much? But me as a journalist, my job is to protect my context. They're inviting me into a world that is I otherwise wouldn't see. So I take it very seriously. Like, I have tons of dealers, all sorts of people on my phone that, hey, when we're about to release this video, FaceTime the guy. Hey, have you seen through your cut? Yeah, you like that? You're good? Your face is blurred? Your voice has changed? Is there anything we need to edit? No? And like most of the time they'll be like, I can't wait till this drops. I can't wait to show my friends this shit. Or they'll be posting on their Instagram story like, Tommy G documentary dropping soon. And I'm like, you're not supposed to say it's you. We had to blur you, right? You know, but they like it.
People like attention. They like attention.
And they like sharing their story.
Yes. There's something in that where like they may have felt forced to take the wrong path or something because of their environment. And obviously like that's their decision to do. They got to live with that.
Yes.
But then they want to, I guess like in a way they want to glorify it as a way almost to enable themselves to continue doing it. No?
You have to justify it to yourself. You have to rationalize it. Yeah. And especially when you're doing things that are either really dangerous to other people or maybe a detriment to society, you find a story to tell. And like one of the dealers we talked to, he was kicked out of his house when he was 13 years old. His mom's boyfriend moved in and didn't want him there. So he had to make money. So he started selling drugs. Like he wasn't even allowed back in. Like, oh, I'm going to try and sneak in and go get a bowl of cereal because I'm hungry. No. This is Brian's house now. Get out of here. So it's like, okay, I kind of get why a kid like that gets in that. It doesn't make it a pass. Like he still has a moral responsibility that he has to wrestle with and he has to deal with on his own terms. But I get it, kind of.
Yes, yeah. We one of my favorite topics is environment and how you know we also, even in America, which is the greatest place to live in the world, we still have our problems where we don't foster the best environments and we create cycles for people. It's really a money thing. That's what it is.
It always is, though, isn't it?
Yes, it always is. And so it's like, you know, there is a part of you that, and I'm sure you even have it more than the average person, like you're saying, because you get to go in the middle of it. There's a part of you that has to like empathize with the circumstances that all of these people collectively in a given area may deal with.
Well, you start to think, if my parents raised me here, how would my life be any different? Like when you see like certain gang-ridden areas, let's just say 70% of the young boys find themselves on the wrong path. Like, who am I to think that I would have been on that good 30% or the better 30% that's, chasing something that's a little bit better. And also, like, I probably wouldn't have the benefit of, I probably wouldn't have a dad in the picture. My mom would probably be at work all the time. And then one thing I've thought about a lot is like, teenage boys get into a lot of trouble. I grew up in one of the safest, best suburbs, maybe in America, but for sure in Illinois, Crystal Lake, Illinois. Great childhood. I could ride my bike in any direction and never be like, oh, like, don't go to this area.
This kid had us believing before he grew up in like the projects.
The trenches of Crystal Lake.
I bought it real quick.
Yeah, the trenches of Crystal Lake. But it's like, even though I grew up in those type environments, I knew friends that would sneak out at night and go into cars, go into garages, go into elementary schools, throw water balloons at cars. I participated in that. I never did any theft. I always had a moral line in me that I never would participate in theft. So I might have snuck out with kids that, like, they'd run off and go do something. I was more interested in lighting fireworks off or doing things like that. Or do you think also Drano bombs was a big part of my...
Drano bombs.
You ever heard of those?
No.
Oh man, if there's kids listening, you get a 2-liter bottle, tin foil, and Drano, like the plumbing solution that if you poop the toilet,
Yeah.
You mix it together, screw the cap on, shake it up, set it away, and it just expands until it's the loudest boom. And we were obsessed with putting these around. So it's like I never got caught, but I got into a lot of trouble. Had I grown up in a more extreme environment, maybe my trouble would have been like a Kia boy,
Right.
robbing or stealing or doing things like that. So like part of me is like, I get it, but then also part of me is like, why is there not enough of a moral quandary in some of these kids that it's like, if they steal your it's like a come up for them, but they don't even think how it could impact you.
Yeah.
How do you reverse that cycle?
Yeah, you had one part in that video where you were asking them about the hypothetical of if they hit somebody.
Yeah.
Right? On the way out.
It'd be your fault.
Yeah, and there's exactly. They're
Yeah.
like, well, it's their fault. They're in the way.
Yeah.
And there's something in me that's like, all right, they never had the opportunity at the most basic level, clearly, to even distinguish right and wrong.
Yeah, and you see some of their parents. Like I talked to one of the kids from that video. I talked to his mom recently, and I was hoping it was going to be like a full circle story. Like, oh, he's making better decisions. He's doing well. He's doing much worse things than stealing cars now.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.